And I've told Jerry this, and I told Dr. Levine this. I'm supposed to share with where I've been because there's so many of us out there and there is hope. And so I will tell my story anywhere I need to, anytime. And anyone can share my story. And I will talk to anyone that needs to talk to. But these two men were the ones that listened, and there's hope. My name is Cheryl Drake. 3 years ago, I was dying and seeking hospice. The nightmare that I began living started probably in 2001 with being involved in being hooked to a contaminated live well. Digestive issues started from then, and I was alone in an extra room at the end of the hallway. It was terrifying. You didn't know what was going on with COVID anyway. It was a nightmare beyond belief. I couldn't eat or drink. If you ever want to know what it was like living in a concentration camp, but the bars were your own stomach and your own mouth. You couldn't eat or drink. I was scheduled to go to Arizona to go to the Mayo Clinic. I was down to 135 pounds. I couldn't even qualify for hospice because there was no diagnosis, but I couldn't even find anyone to die with at the time. Got into Ed Levine, and he looked at me so calmly and he said, "You're not insane." And he asked if I had read the book, The Body Kept Score, and that he was gonna treat me out of it. I was on a lot of medication, 30 prescriptions at the time. I was watching an ad on TV and I saw Jerry's thought popped into my head of, I've never felt before. This is a whole new life. What would it be like to just openly and honestly and very vulnerably and trusting going into a situation and seeing if there was actually a whole new world of what I didn't know out there. I mean, what did I have to lose? I had no hope. I had no hope laying in that hospital room. Now I found out I was all fear. I was afraid of everything. I was afraid of dying alone. I was afraid of not finding anybody to help me. I made the phone call, and Jerry and I laugh a lot about how I sat in the parking lot for about an hour before my appointment, and I was in a panic attack. Just, is this gonna be like everything else? The biggest surprise I got? Everything. Every single thing in my life. We go through a lot of emotional distress. We know triggers, everything. I had no idea everything that I did in my life was a mindless trigger. Well, we better look at this and see really what's my true action behind it, and I've been shocked that it's completely opposite. What's changed from 3 years ago to today, besides everything? I am no longer on 30 prescriptions. I'm actually on one prescription, and that's for my thyroid. I've gone from a medical chart that was massive. They used to say they were gonna get a dolly to carry it, to I have my one annual exam now a year. You know, if I could have been where I was now 20 years ago, I probably could have heard Dr. Levine and what he was trying to get through to me. Where I am now is I found a perfect follow-up to all the digestive issues, cutting down on the medication, eating better. I started straight up from scratch with Jerry, went to the grocery store with me. I couldn't even shop mindfully. I didn't even know what I was shopping for. It's living with the medical care, follow up on what us real people need. That all put the physical aspect into what Dr. Levine was telling me, and it saved my life, and I'm eternally grateful. My body keeps score now by I can hear it. Jerry's been a rock to my side to even just sit with it. Just sit with it and hear it. And I'm shocked that my body knows. I do the 4 requirements: that I sleep, my spirituality, my food, my exercise. As long as I keep in those cycles, that knowledge of where I need to go changes me, and my body doesn't absorb the score anymore.
So if, keeping it simple, 0 to 10 3 years ago, you felt how?
0. I was scheduled to go to Mayo Clinic to have somebody see if they could save my life.
0 to 10, how do you feel now?
I'd say a 10, but if a 20 is possible. I think it will benefit is probably every person I know has digestive issues. So even when I did have a chance to physically live again or had hope, If I had still been eating the way I was eating, I wouldn't have even had the mind for that hope. I was so fogged. I was just so fogged and checked out. Deep down, you would know if it was just going to another pill. I always knew that was gonna come back. I was on, at one point, 10.4, 10.5 Lortabs a day, and in so much pain that I couldn't move. Massive antidepressants, and the common dose for PTSD was a pretty high dose, 250 milligrams a day. I probably won't continue to see the psychiatrist because I haven't actually been taking that medication for 6 months, and I've been doing fabulous. I'm not on those medications anymore, and I'm probably still at a 10, hoping for a 20. And I've told Jerry this, and I told Dr. Levine this. I'm supposed to share with where I've been because there's so many of us out there and there is hope. And so I will tell my story anywhere I need to, anytime. And anyone can share my story. And I will talk to anyone that needs to talk to. But these two men were the ones that listened. And there's hope.